Hi guys. All right, this is going to be the math lesson for Friday. This is on decimals for adding and subtracting. And you can see that's our lesson here. And so what I want you to do is I want you to take notes as I go through this in your math notebook. And so this is what we're going to be looking at here is the rules of how we add and how we subtract decimals. So we're going to start with the addition. So the very first thing that we need to do is we need to line them up. So first, let's get our problem. We've got a 1 and 4/10, and we're adding that with 6 and 75/100. So when we line them up, we're going to line up the decimals. So if this is where my decimal point is in 1 and 4/10, then my 6 and 75/100, those decimals need to be in the same line. So 6 and 75/100. Notice everything in the ones column is together, stacked on top of each other. The decimals are stacked on top of each other. The tenths are stacked up on top of each other, and the hundredths. All right, the next thing we're going to do, let me finish putting this here. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to drop it down. So see this decimal? We're going to just drop it down, decimal drop. Then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to fill in any missing pieces. So just like we did when we were comparing and ordering, if we don't have a hundredth, then we need to fill in a 0. And then now we're ready to add. So again, line the problem up, line all the decimals up, drop down that decimal, and fill in any spaces that are not there. Now we're ready to add. 0 and 5, and again, this is just like whole numbers. We just got this extra decimal here. So 0 and 5, if we add that together, we have 5. 7 and 4, we're going to regroup. So we're going to put, it's 11, so we're going to put the 1 in the next column over, and then the 1 down below for 11, because we know we can't have 2 digits in a place value column, and then 6, 7, 8. So 8 and 15/100. All right, the next thing we're going to do is look at a subtraction problem. So let's say I had 15 and 1/10 minus 7 and 95/100. So here you're going to take this first row, we're going to line them up. So 15 and 100 minus, now the 7 is in the ones place, so I have to make sure that I put it in the ones place. I don't want to scoot it over because then my whole answer is going to be wrong because I'm taking the tens place and subtracting a 1 from it. That wouldn't add up. 95. All right, lined them up. All the ones are together, all the tens, all the tenths, and hundredths. Okay. Now remember the next one, we have to add in those zeros. So we're going to add in a 0 here. You don't have to, but you can right here if you'd like, just to show that there's no tens. Doesn't change the value. And now we're ready to subtract. So let me get another color just so I can show here easier. So here again, guys, remember if you have a 0, my top number here is the largest because it's 15 whole compared to 7. So this number on top is larger, but when I go to subtract, if this number 0 is smaller than the 5, then remember I have to regroup. So I'm going to take 1 away from the 1. That's going to leave me with 0. The 1 that I took is going to make this one a 10. And then I can't do 0 minus 9, so I'm going to have to regroup here. It's going to make that a 10. And then I can't do 4 minus 7, so I'm going to have to regroup here and make that a 14. Now, everything on top is either the same or larger. Now I can subtract. 10 minus 5 is 5. 10 minus 9 is 1. 14 minus 7 is 7, and my zeros. Okay, then don't forget your decimal drop. Okay, so that decimal drops straight down. So 7 and 15 hundredths. Then I can check to see if I'm correct. I can take that 7 and 15 hundredths and I can add it to the 7 and 95 hundredths, and I can add those up. If you hear a weird noise in the background, it's my dog. She got a new toy, so she's going crazy. All right, so 15 and 10 hundredths matches this 15 and 10 hundredths, so I know I did it correctly. So again, we're lining up the decimals, making sure that decimal gets dropped down, and we're filling in any spaces that are not there to make sure that we do this correctly, okay? All right, and that is how you add and subtract decimals. So again, make sure this information, the two problems that we did and the rules, make sure the rules and this get put in your math notebook. All right, thank you guys.